In this video, we will show you how to create and edit a graphic form, add a text control, and introduce you to automation using the concept of behaviors. Let's go.
So from the application launcher, run the demo configuration, and you'll end up again in the operator showing our batching plant. Launch the designer and you'll end up in the design application. And from here, the first thing I'm going to do in the batching plant or the batching folder, I'm going to add a new graphic form. I'm going to call it sample. I'm going to change the background size 100 by 600, and I'm going to change the color just to sort of show you that we can change and play with the background and the properties of even the base graphic form. How do I now add objects to my design surface? Well, from the toolbox you'll see I can go to vectors, which give me a list of vectors. Alternatively, I can go to scalar here. They're the same ones, and I'm going to select rectangle, and I want that to represent my batching main tank. It's a nice stainless steel tank, so let's go to the properties of that vector and change it to being a gradient and making it look like a stainless steel tank. Then what I'm going to do is from my Windows controls, I'm going to select text box because I'd also like to represent the weight. I'm going to change the font to make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it a bit bigger, 22, and that's going to sit under my tank. Let's position those things. I'm happy with that, so let's just make it a little bit smaller by using the drag handles. And then that's my statics. Of course, you can't do much with those. You have to animate this stuff. So now I introduce you to the concept of behaviors. And by clicking on any object, you'll see there is a smart tag that appears. Same will apply here. In this scenario, I select my tank. I'll click on my smart tag. This is where you get a list of the types of behaviors you can put on this object. It'll act like a button if I want to execute a command or do an operator action. In this scenario, I would just like to put a percentage fill. It prompts me for a data element. I'm going to browse in from my agent list, which is the list of analog agents in this scenario in my batch OPC server, which I have created tags for. Select batch weight, change the color that I'm going to animate with. Let's animate with don't like that color. Let's animate with the blue, and we're going to finish that. So that would then run, and if I run this, you'll see it actually is live, and we know that because if I go into the batch plant and I start it, you will see if I run this again in design mode, you'll see it starts filling up at the bottom there. The one problem is based on this animation. You see I've used the eng-min and eng-max from the agent. I'm going to change that to 0 and 20, and you'll see there's a better representation of that tank. At the bottom here, the behavior I'm going to use is a display value, and because I've used it already, I can just click on it, and I'm going to put the units here, kilograms, and if I run it, it'll start showing me an actual representation of that graphic form. Now this by itself is quite useful, but I actually want to pop this up off by clicking on a button, and I'm going to do that off go back to my enterprise manager, open up my batch plant. Let's again from the toolbox drop a button on here, The text I want to say here is tank detail. It could be anything you want. And the behavior I'm going to be used here is an execute command behavior. I'm going to open another graphic form. I have to browse it in from my batching server, my sample graphic form, which shows me what it looks like, and I'm going to make it modal or modeless, and I'm going to close it when I don't focus on it if I have to. Make it simple, save it, go back to my operator. See, it's pulled through. If I click on there, it opens that up, and that should represent my batch weight. And you can see, if we just let it run through, you can see it draining. Again, very similar to that. And because that's blocked, I'll just reset the alarm and let it carry on. Open that up, and off we go again. Sorry, this simulator does produce a few alarms, and you can see it rising up there. So that's the end of this video. In the next one, we're going to be showing you a little deeper and digging a little deeper into the concept of agents and how to add and scan a new agent from a PLC, in which, in our case, we're going to be using our batch OPC server.
We hope you enjoyed working through the behavior cycles and text control options. In the next video, we'll be digging a little deeper into the concept of agents and how to add and scan a new agent from a PLC.